even before before the standout guys, two guys I was surprised and very happy to see. Number one, Pavel Novak played, and it was so fucking good to see him play again, dude. Like, because I knew he was like healthy again, but then got hurt, so I wasn't sure if he was gonna be playing again. I didn't, as I've told you before, I have not in the off season. I just don't pay attention to what's going on. So like the second he stepped on the ice, I was like, "Fuck, that's fucking awesome!" Just like like the amount of resilience that takes, and like just mental fortitude to have to step away literally because you have cancer, then come back and play again. It's good for him. Very happy to see him. And then another guy that I was not sure if he was going to be healthy, Kyle Masters played, and he looked incredible. He had a couple of assists in those games. It's just that injury that he had, like the way he went flying into the boards, looked like I was like, oh boy, like they said it was already right there, like a couple months. I was like, that could really fuck him up, especially when one of the hallmarks of his game is skating. He looks just as good as he did before. Super fucking mobile, incredibly physical too. He was getting in the mix every time he had a chance to. But the puck moving and like just the overall willingness to get involved in the offense, like we've talked about before, what he was when he was in Red Deer, when they were completely restricting his game, like not letting him do what Kyle Masters like excels at. He goes to Kamloops, gets the opportunity to jump up in the offense and just have the puck and like be fully free. It looks like that's going to translate just to how he approaches the game at the next level as well. So that's very exciting to see. In Iowa's going to have a bunch of young players now. Like they do convert, like they actually have all the young players that every year we're like, oh, this team's be really fun. And then you find out they sign like 8 guys to AHL deals. Everyone else goes back to fucking juniors. But now you're going to have guys like Masters, Bankier, Lambos, Simon Johansson, Damon Hunt, like all those guys, Ryan O'Rourke, all of it. Like there's going to be a bunch of young players on that team with legit ceiling. So that's going to be very exciting. It makes it significantly harder to play because the AHL is a very old league, obviously, and it's fucking a tough league to play in for a young player. But the fact that they will have a bunch of young guys there is going to be so fun, very fun to watch. But those were 2 guys specifically I was very happy to see, just like health-wise, specifically Pavel Novak fucking fired up that he's back to playing again. Because, I mean, God damn it, that last year before he got sick, he lit up the WHL on a very average hockey team. So, but those are 2 guys specifically I just wanted to mention. I'm telling you, man, Rasmus Kumpalainen is so fun. Like, he's massive and it's interesting because I said this before, like, it's tough to say, like, he's not the best skater in the world, but he makes it work because he's so incredibly skilled, but B, like shifty, where like he knows he doesn't have that like burning speed, but like he can just somehow from a standstill like DQ out and create like 3 feet of separation for himself. And he did it a few times where it was like high risk, like he had 2 guys on him at the offensive blue line, where if they stripped him of the puck, like it was a 2-on-0 for sure. And every time he looks like he's just like dead to rights, gonna like cough up the puck, and he just gets through whoever it is every time, drives to the net, draws penalties, like, and he obviously is not afraid of the physical side of the game. So, he's got all the skill in the world. He's very fun. He's very flashy with the puck, but he also has a mean streak in front of the net too. So he makes himself quite a versatile offensive player. But I thought he made a ton of plays with the puck that stood out quite often. So he's really fun. Again, I said this after the draft, like sneaky, the most intriguing pick was that Kumpalainen, just because he's got those foundational like traits and skills that make him ultimately successful at like the NHL level. It's just there's a few major roadblocks he's going to have to get over, like the skating part. And he's going to have to make himself quite useful defensively, but
kind of important.
Yeah, okay, but so fun to watch though.
The one I got to ask about is the twins, Height and Hate. What do we see there?
I think I literally have to like actually now that when you bring them both up, you actually have to slow down. I'm like, Hunter hate. Okay, dude, I would assume he's going to be back in Saginaw. He is going to eviscerate the OHL. Like, he looked so goddamn good. Like, the skating, the skill, the smart play. Like, and again, he's one of those guys that, like, maybe in zone defensively is like that's where he runs into trouble. But he's as a forward, he's able to kill so many plays in transition. Just because he's such a good skater, he's so good with his stick too that he makes himself useful and can just eliminate a whole lot of like offense for the opposition before it even like starts. As they're breaking up the ice or whatever. But he looked dynamic offensively, making so many plays. And I gotta tell you, that first game, he got involved. This poor fucking kid, he like got involved in some like scrap in front of the net, and of course the dude, I can't even say his name. I don't know how to say his name on St. Louis. Just decided, no, I'm going to fucking fight Hunter Haight. The kid's like 23, like fighting in the AHL, and just started going to town. And Hunter Haight didn't even have his fucking like gloves off, and he's just getting a beating. And then he started throwing some back. I was like, holy shit, all right, he's standing in there. And then he caught one uppercut and like his legs went. I was like, oh no, please God, please do not tell me this kid just got knocked the fuck out, concussion, out for a couple. Like, it was bad. But he popped right back up, served it, somehow got a 5-minute major for fighting, technically, for getting beat up. First shift back, goal. I was just like, thank God he's all right. First of all, thank God he's fine. Like, I mean, dude, I could like hear the punch through the tee. It was brutal. I was like, oh no, that's it. There goes a couple months. That's a conk. But he came back, scored, and then he lit it up the second game too. So he looked so good. And then Riley Height, there we go.
Nice.
Also, again, everything about his game that made him, to a lot of us, a for sure first round pick, you saw in the showcase. So much skill. He can score goals. He's got a phenomenal shot, great release, but his playmaking is dynamic, man. Like, just sees plays that you have no idea are even there. He's another one of those kids that just thinks 3 plays ahead. He creates passing lanes and finds a seam for himself. But and that's another kid that loves the chippy shit. So he looked great too.